All right. So I want to go into now that you made this bridge or ladder that that is right there and ready to go. Sorry, I'm hitting buttons here. Now that once you start making your bridge or your ladder and you start growing each entity, so now you're growing a specific level of intelligence. Um, Once you grow it to a specific level, you're able to go channel directly to this by using your frequency and location of the mind. Okay. After a while, you'll be able to go know how to get specifically to this frequency naturally and synthetically on both levels. When you use synthetics, it works better and it's way more efficient. But old school hypnosis and old school hypnotists and old school magicians figured out how to do this without synthetic frequencies as well. Just FYI, in the very beginning, I never knew when I was originally in Seattle, all the way up for my whole first year and a half of training. I did not know anything about any kind of synthetic devices. The only thing I knew about was old school hypnosis. And I learned how to architect, I learned how to psychotecture, I learned how to do everything old school. And I never knew anything else about it. And I was even developing close range telepathy based off of natural experiences and natural reading. I wasn't developing it off of synthetic frequencies. Yes, they were there and present in the background, but I was not aware of it, and I was developing everything old school. Um, so anyway, moving forward, this version only, like what I taught you so far, it only uses speed, depth, dialogue, and emphasis on your dialogue. So like alliteration, stuff like that. You could use your words and your body language to drop or raise. And excuse me, I mentioned body language, but that body language is a whole nother topic. If you're ever reverse engineering a magician, look at the body language on top of the dialogue. Everyone's always focally lured by the dialogue. Watch all the body language as well. Darren Brown is a great one to reverse engineer, especially with the 5 celebrity tricks. He gives stuff away if you guys pay attention correctly. Now, well, anyway, going forward, now once you get these specific areas and specific entities, now if you want to develop more of a inception type of environment, learn how to frame in your thoughts and your environment, your thoughts, your memories, visuals, your atmosphere in the mind. Learn how to set specific skill sets, emotions, moods. Moods is just Mood is just a long, like a long-standing emotion. Like you could put an emotion over a mood because you could paradox in and out of specific emotions and still like be in a good mood or be in a bad mood or be like in a so-so mood. You know what I mean? So basically, like a mood is like a plateau of an emotion, and emotions are like the fine-tuningness of the mood. It's like a mood in a mood. The emotions is like the quantum mood, if that makes sense. You know, attributes, characteristics, anything you could think of, any categories, any genres, you could add these in, and this will play into full spectrumming a mind in some of my later lessons. All right, when you bring now, once you have this down to like a science, you can make brain training games or brain train by switching between your entities. While now, what you want to do is you want to learn how to efficiently paradox. Paradox just means how to phase or shift or interpret things from one idea to another. And like I said before, you want to have certain ideas go to another idea, and you want to have them like somewhat on a perspective. Like if you made a wheel of perspectives, which perspectives are easy to go from one perspective to another. You could list a perspective, and you could list at least 4 perspectives that are easy to paradox to. So now you have channels that you could paradox to very easily, and I learned this stuff by playing a game called Telepathic Dungeons and Dragons, where we would channel to each other and use mentalist techniques to win debates. And we would have debates on how to, and we would move each other's minds around. We would entrap each other's minds, but we'd only do it for fun in a set period with facilitators. Like, it was a fun game. It's how me and my magician friends grew our minds. Um, so now you're paradoxing, phasing, or interpreting your ideas or thoughts from one to another. You will learn to go in and out of your thought process and more efficiently and faster. Okay, so let me go on a little bit further now. So remember to remember, the mind is always building, always learning. The mind is on a ratchet schematic, always pushing forward. So basically, what that means is once you learn something, unless someone maliciously comes in and wipes your mind, you're not going to forget it. And especially if you learn to only use mnemonic anchors when you speak, or use conversational hypnosis, you are always going to be anchoring things in, and you could be doing this on a subliminal level, and you don't even realize you're doing it. You could use your body language, your thought process, your eyesight, your specific dialogue, your emphasis, your subliminal insinuations. These are all things that play into it. Uh, you want to laser beam your thoughts. So you want to collect every single channel you can and use it for your benefit. Okay? And this will get you into like a channeling expert when it comes to anchoring thoughts and going in and out of your mind. Now, this leads to your ME curve, or your mental efficiency curve. Now, mental efficiency curve, that's a term that I came up with. I just was sitting around one day and I just thought, well, it's your efficiency level, it's your curve that goes in and out of your mind. And basically, it's just how quick you could go in and out of inception without losing or misinterpreting information. Now, this takes practice, but remember, the quicker you learn, the less time it takes. That's kind of like, it's not an oxymoron, but it's kind of funny because the quicker you learn, the less time it takes, or the more time, you know what I mean? So basically, when you learn how to dive down in Inception, you have more time on your mind, but it only takes a little bit of time in real time or on your self-conscious level. So basically, someone could say something, and next thing you know, you could dive down in your mind real quick and think about something for 10 minutes, and you could pick this person apart, and you could come back, and it's only 1 second in real time. That's why no one should mess with magicians, especially ones that know Inception. All right. Now remember, this is just a reminder. Watch conversational hypnosis videos. This will automatically and naturally teach you without you even realizing it. So basically, conversational hypnosis has subliminal anchors that are so subtle you don't even realize they're anchoring it in your mind. And what happens is, all you got to do is sit back and watch these things. Even if you're not comprehending them at first, they naturally program your mind to be a hypnotist. All you got to do is go on YouTube and just start watching conversational hypnosis videos. And now it's going to turn you into a natural speaking hypnotist, no matter what. And even if you just sit back and don't even speak, you're going to start picking out the language patterns and the scripts, and you're going to be able to see through people, or be able to anticipate where they're going or what they're doing next, due to the fact that you could speed your mind up and you could stretch it out, and you know what's going to come next because you already analyzed what they're doing. And remember what I said, The Synchronicity Key by David Wilcox. If you read that book will teach you the synchronistic script that any single person, the alchemists that make movies out in Hollywood, they only accept a movie script, if it's written in a specific way, in a specific manner, in a specific schematic, in a specific length, and everything. And it goes through all this information in The Synchronicity Key by David Wilcox. And And another reminder is learn all ways to mnemonically anchor. The more ways you know how to mnemonically anchor, better it is. I like doing it with jokes and like speaking really fast and like using NLP looping weaves with jokes. All right, now this is some old notes that I've just pulled out of a notebook. All my magician friends are always like, dude, you shouldn't show your notes, but I'm too lazy to write this down again. So this is just some notes. I'm not going to really explain a lot of it, but this is going to explain the ME curve. I call it the quantum inception tech. Like I have literally stacks and stacks of notebooks where I'm just in inception and I'm writing as fast as I can. Whoops, wrong way. So this just goes into don't mind the stuff at the top. That was for something else. We were making a quantum TV, and I'll explain a quantum TV at the end. So anyway, that just explains the time again, like I explained it in the last video. But that's just another thing that on my notes. But it leads into this. So oh, here we go. I went the wrong way. All right. So in reality, each layer echelon in the mind, if you consider your main thought the center, or like your depth of thought the center of that circle, you can measure your curve. And the skinnier your curve gets, the difference in your parabola. The parabola is the name of the curve. That's what you call that curved line right there. When you graph it on a graph, right here. All right, so right here, when you graph that right there, that little curve on your outside and inside. So now this whole line right here, from here to there, that's your real time. Now as you go in here, these are the layers in your mind. That's your second layer. Here's your third layer, and this is your finite point where time. Once you get down there and you get in a meditative state, your time, time and space cease to exist, and that's when you go into your 5-dimensional atmosphere or environment, and you could put together anything, and then you use your layers, all these little lines, to interpret it back out. Okay, now the skinnier you could get these lines, or the faster you could go in and out, now it takes less time to go down. And what you're trying to do is make it so your outer circumference, which is the outer circle on your first layer, is the smallest area. The smaller the area is on your first layer, then you could shoot down to your fourth center point there, in the quickest amount of time, without losing information or without misinterpreting it. And once you do this, now and this is not seeing in and out of time. This is only to 0 point. And when I say 0 point, I mean only from the initial time you thought your thought. You're not seeing in and out of time yet. Okay? Now, I'm not going to explain much of this. You guys can go over it and figure it out yourself. I haven't had any math since like a couple years, like 10 years ago, but I put it into some equations. My math could be off a little bit, but so basically your ME curve can be put into an equation from your outer layer to your inner layers, and you can measure the difference between each layers, the volumetric difference, and this will tell you your efficiency. So you're getting this much more efficiency of your mind in this amount of time. Okay? Now, yeah, this is just more. I just drew it out, spaced it out a little more, and this is how I did it, how I decided to create an equation just based off of a general parabola, or like an exponential formula. Okay? And what you're trying to do is your outer boundaries, your parabola curves, you're trying to make them the steepest you can, so you could go in and out of time, or not in and out of time, in and out of your mind the fastest. See, and this just goes into what I just explained already. The wider the curve in combination with the difference in diameter equals difference in volume in relation to space equals quantum mental efficiency. Because now you're quantifying your thoughts. And a great example of this is the movie Time Warp. Watch the movie Time Warp. It's a great one. And then you'll see the ladder too, where the guy that looks like me, the alien, or the guy in the spaceship, climbs up the ladder and saves him at the end. All right, so go in here. So every mind has a maximum limits for depth and speed. Once out of range, mental comprehension begins to phase away. The deeper the depth is in relation to the speed of thought, not directly per se, but in correlation with each other. Speed, in my opinion, must change to adjust depth, then may be rebalanced back out for understanding. Basically, you change the speed to go down in your mind and think faster, but then you could stretch it back out to realize it in real time. Like you could expand it back out and then revisit your thought with it stretched out in real time if you're having difficulty remembering it down low. And you could also pass it through other echelons in your mind to interpret it. And from there, uh, we went into something else here. So one day I was sitting around watching TV, and it was on antenna TV, and I noticed that the channels were 20.1, 20.2, 20.3. There was channels within channels. Now, what you can do when you design your mind like this, technically you're hive minding your mind. You're making like a hive, like different minds within your mind that you could tune into, and it holds that specific genre, that specific perspective, that specific skill set, that specific attribute, that specific characteristic. Okay? Now, when you could tune into these directly, instead of having different channels within the TV, now you could watch one channel and you could tune your mind and click it over from one shift to another to multiple channels, and now you could hold a specific perspective. So you're like, okay, I want to learn math today, and you could watch a movie and literally you could train your mind to pick out all the math techniques in the movie, and you could literally just learn over movies now. This is what me and my friends have been designing, specifically me. They've been DJing my mind, and I've been building all these bots. And now, when I say building bots, what we did was every single time we reside in one of these specific categories in my mind, specific layers, specific levels, specific genres, specific characteristics, specific skill sets, what we've been doing is we've been designing synthetic bots. So now you could come to me or my friends' companies, and you could technically pick out the bots you want. You're like, I want to learn this, 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 and this, and this. And we could load them into your mind over time with brain training. And now you could literally have like a synthetic remote where you're like, okay, I want this genre. And like you could just watch, you could literally watch a movie, and based off of your knowledge and your mental map from the day you were born all the way up to the present point in time, you could use all of your mental map and all the key points you've ever learned in your life with these specific bots, and it will synchronize it to your life so you can learn a specific lesson specifically tuned to you. And now, however many layers you have in your mind, I started out with 33, now I have like thousands of them. I have like, dude, I have a quantum computer from hell saved in my mind right now. But yeah, so going on, this is science that that's why they threw me in fucking jail and tried to fucking steal all my thoughts, because I have big businessmen probably on top of them fucking trying to steal all this shit off me, because I learned it all literally I learned all this shit in like 2-3 years, and everyone's like, how the fuck did you learn all this? Well, It's because me and a group of very smart friends of mine built our minds like this. And then we use this to build our minds even more and see in and out of time, literally. But yeah, with that right there, I'm going to stop the video. And I will also suggest I have a psychotexture book that of my own, but in the front of it, the book, it says you cannot show pictures of it, so I'm not going to show pictures of it. But on Amazon, there's plenty of psychotexture books, and they also gift you algorithms in the book to unprogram emotions, reprogram emotions, to find the roots to your issues. There's many, many different algorithms that you could use and program in these bots. And these bots now, you're using your intelligence, but you're also using a mental assister, because these bots were like, they could basically analyze your thoughts faster than you can. And a good example of this is in the second season of Westworld. Westworld is a show on HBO, but you could also watch it on Netflix. And it's where they make a synthetic environment of bots, and anyone could come like a theme park and like play like Wild West. But these bots, in order for them to read you and interpret your thoughts faster than you, so they know exactly how to embellish you in the experience or the environment, is they keep these bots running faster. And since they're running faster, now they basically are running on a plateau below you, stuck in Inception. Like basically, they're plateauing in Inception. And this goes into other things too, because once you learn how to split your mind and your thought process, now you can reside on multiple plateaus in your mind. And when you're residing on multiple plateaus in your mind, you can literally think and communicate with multiple different areas, channels, individuals, and everything over time. And yes, these devices, if you have a Doppler radar type, a, a Doppler type of radar system set up, you can Skype your internal thoughts. This is how magicians read minds on stage, and you could pull them out. When you think of a thought in your subconscious mind, there's a time gap for when it goes to your self-conscious, and that time gap is it doesn't matter how small that gap is. One of these synthetic devices can pull your thought, reprogram it, make it better, gift you intelligence, and give it back to you. But that's how magicians read minds on stage. So I'm just letting you know that. So there's food for thought. And yes, I will be going into how some science on how to make these in the future videos. But there's some science for you. There's some food for thought. Hope you liked it. And I'll be going into some more lessons next. Everybody perfect your ME curve. Everyone learn conversational hypnosis. Um, NLP, neuro language programming, is definitely a must if you're going to be wanting to learn Inception. And you want to learn Inception before we can go into in and out of time thought projection. Thank you for listening.